So, Pledge Music's not paying artists anymore? Let's talk about that. What's up, guys? Brandon here from KDMR Music, the channel that teaches you how to succeed in the music business. So, we do videos twice a week about music marketing, how to find your audience and make money, and then videos where we break down certain music business events, current events that are happening in the news, just like this one. So if you're interested in that type of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's on the screen right now. So, Pledge Music, a crowdfunding platform for musicians that I first found out about back in 2013, 14. Found out about them when I was a student at Berkeley Online. And Pledge Music was an amazing platform. It was kind of like Kickstarter, but it was designed specifically for musicians. And it had incentives that fans could see, and it was just this amazing platform that gave independent musicians the opportunity to fund their music careers with Kickstarter-like campaigns. Now, the reason Pledge Music is so cool is because, you can go to Pledge Music much like you would go to Kickstarter, but you would know that if you're on Pledge Music, it's just for musicians. You can find some really cool things to be a part of. So Pledge Music opens you up to a huge audience. Their team was really helpful at helping you set up a campaign for success. They would promote the campaigns that were doing well. I mean, it was a great situation for artists to be in, especially in the mid 2010s or early 2010s when the music industry was still not quite fully into the streaming era. Revenues were still down every year, and it was a great time for people to make money online because there was a need for that type of service. So Pledge Music was a big service, Noise Trade was big. There were a lot of artist services platforms that were made popular around that same time. Now, the founder of Pledge Music, Benji Rogers, was a great guy, and they had a great team. Like I said, they were super helpful for artists. So when I saw this in the news today, I was kind of shocked. And so if you don't know, Bob Lefsetz, who is a very popular sort of talking head or thinking head in the music industry. He's a thought leader, and he's got a lot of thoughts about how labels should work. And if you're wanting to know what the state of the music industry is, Bob Lefsetz is a guy who kind of predicts certain things, and he's very well connected. So Bob Lefsetz got an email from an artist manager that he knows saying, hey, I've got a band who successfully funded their album on Pledge Music, and they're still waiting for their music or for their money to come. And so, long story short, since about June of 2018, Pledge Music has been late on payments to artists. Now, if you're not familiar with how crowdfunding works, you start up a campaign, your fans pay to fund your album as long as it's funded successfully. Kickstarter, or in this case Pledge Music, takes that money, takes a percentage of it, and then pays you the rest. Now there is like a little bit of a waiting period because they want to make sure there's no fraud going on and things like that, but that's basically how it works. Well, what had been happening was artists were waiting months and not getting their payments. And Pledge Music would say, "Oh, we switched payment processors, or we've got a new investor, stuff like that. The money's coming." And people are still waiting for their money. Now, when Bob posted this blog post, he got crazy amounts of comments from all sorts of musicians saying, hey, we've been having this problem too. We haven't been paid either. And now the floodgates have opened. So much so that Pledge Music actually put out a statement apologizing for the late payments, saying they'd have everything cleared up in the next 90 days. Benji, the founder of Pledge Music, who no longer works with the company anymore, he even felt compelled to write a piece on Medium, which I will link to, about how sad he was to learn that the company that he founded with all this love and care is not treating the artists correctly. So, the reason I wanted to do this video is, one, to let you guys know that this is happening, so that if you're thinking about starting a Pledge Music campaign, maybe you hold off on that right now. It's probably not the best decision to make. And then, if you have not, or if you've been going through this, I'd love to hear your stories. But again, the other overarching point is the same thing that we talked about last month or a couple months ago when BeatStars got hacked, about making sure you own the relationship with your fans and that you don't rely too much on one platform. If you were thinking that PledgeMusic was the only way you could fund your music career, you're wrong, right? Start an email list, run an ad on Facebook. There are so many ways to see who's interested in your music and to ask them directly for the money you need to fund your next album or your next project. So, never, ever, ever put all your eggs in one basket. And like I said, we talked about this when there was a scare about SoundCloud going out of business. We talked about this when BeatStars got hacked. We're going to talk about this all the time because it's really important that you know that you have to own that fan relationship. I do not want to see any more independent artists stuck in situations like these because of companies and their terrible, terrible business practices. What happens is, a company like that size, they get acquired by investors and now it's all about money. Well, what's a good way to make money? We've got all this money coming in. Let's hold it in the bank for a little while. Grow some interest on it. Let's invest a certain percentage of it in the stock market. Let that grow. What happens if it doesn't grow? What if the stock market crashes like it's done in the last few months? Well, then you've got money that you owe people that you can't pay because you don't have the cash. That's what happens when you try to grow too quickly, hire too many assistants or people on staff. There's so many reasons why these big businesses can fail. So just because a lot of people use a service does not mean that it's the right service for you. And it doesn't mean that they'll never, ever fail. The phrase too big to fail is a myth. It's not a thing that happens for real, right? Companies can fail no matter how big they are. Remember Enron? So, again, I just wanted to talk about that really quickly, and I hope that you guys weren't affected. If you have been having trouble dealing with PledgeMusic and having trouble getting your payments, please let me know. I do have people who are connected on the inside of that company and may be able to help you out. So leave a comment below, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Peace.